Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. I'm your host, the intrepid galactic historian, Andrew Bartzis. Yes, many of you know me through the Galactic History series and a variety of other radio shows that I've done. Today is going to be a special show. Everyone come on in, sit down in the chat room, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, in the Zoom room, on the website, on twitch.tv, Twitter, Periscope, wherever you may be consuming this material, past, present, or future. So sit back, relax. Got a little speech to give to you today. Now, over the past couple months, I've had a lot of people coming to me dealing with personal betrayals. So I've been working on a document that's based around understanding betrayals, how to let it go. We've had a lot of callers that also deal with betrayals. So see this as not necessarily generic, but a more universal way to deal with betrayals. So I could get a little something going here. So if you want to be selected to be a caller, you must be a part of the Zoom room. Every little bit, we'll put up instructions how you can get and become in the Zoom room, whatever channel, other channels that you are on. When you're on the Zoom room, click on the participants button, and then you will see an ability to raise your hand, lower your hand, raise your hand, lower your hand. Those that have their hands raised will be those in the wheelless collars, in which our producer Robert will spin the random generator and determine who will get picked. Now, everyone has had some form of betrayal in their life. I want you all to sit back and just relax a few moments here. So as we discuss betrayal and a form of prayer that can help you let it go. Now, I've used this form of conversation topics in many sessions. But this particular one that I've done is a little bit of a zinger for both the person that has been betrayed, the betrayer, and the betrayee. So this prayer goes like this. I, as this ever-present moment of the now, being, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity for the express purpose of doing my inner work on those who have betrayed my trust, my compassion, my love. It is my duty to my inner journey to expose and expunge these persons who have created moments in time in which doubt created harm. I expose them to my inner light so they can have no power in the seen and unseen avenues of my life walk. As a conscious being of choice, I choose to disavow, disconnect, and remove all those that stunt my growth, steal my life force, or pervert my words and intentions for their own agenda, of not owning their own space and their energy. Those that project and demand I accept their projections as my inner truth, I say unto you the following. In the past, humankind was limited by perversions of truth. I end your perversion of truth as actionable wisdom in my life walk. I end your capacity to hold strength and a position of strength in my reality. For if I do, then I will not be responsible for my own level of awareness. I, in my own consciousness, will not allow your perversions, inversions, conversions of truth be projected into my reality. Today is a day of renewed beginnings of introspective life walk. I have seen so much action, change in actions that promoted actions from all of the forms of interactions, creations, actions, and calculations of endurance from you. And those that betray me in the now, then, and will be. Now I let go of the eternal struggle of calculation-based awareness and enter the boundless lands of self-compassion. These boundless lands of freedom to dream the great dream of peace for me and my peace. The entrance to the boundless lands of the internal self are guided by our secrets that keep us manifested as secret keepers, not peacemakers. There are forms of secret that hold illusionary power, for the secret is not that important of a teaching, whatever it is. There are other secrets that held within the power of understanding the people and how they react to secrets of immense power. Today is a unique day of personal revelation of truth as I let go of all forms of secrets. My vital life force has completed a sojourn into the ever after and back into the here and the now. I now take up the time to process and understand my journey to the stars and beyond. Each and every aspect of my journey is encoded in my light body of experience. My capacity to chronicle my experience is unparalleled in any other parts of myself. All external stimulus is not separated from my experience, so I may know it without entanglements of others subtly demanding me to elevate their experience over mine. These hierarchical personalities, seen and unseen, must now go through their own journey and chronicle their own process in their own place. I can no longer support the fraud imposition anymore. It is my choice to connect to my infinite soul as me, the here and the now, not the then or will be. I am a being of equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. What does that mean to the me of the now? Processing all the competition with hierarchy imposed on by others into my field. It was my compassion and healing skills combined with my desire to have love that led me through this experience, I recall now, as a form of healing for many. Those who were a part of that experience, I forgive you for you knew no better. I forgive you for you knew you did not do your inner work. I forgive you for your forced evolutionary aspects on your journey. I forgive you of all the lies, deceits, and betrayals, for you knew no better in your ignorant state of being. I forgive myself for not standing up earlier in the experience. I forgive myself for loving with my heart to not seeing another truth beyond the colors of my love. I forgive myself for entangling my life walk and home life and all those unable to process me and the trials and tribulations I was going through as a person on a journey, just like all of you. Today is the day I recall all aspects of myself, still trying to support those on their journey who cannot support me. I recall all soul parts, shards, avatars, guides, guardians, and light bodies still aiding those on the path who do harm to me with their actions, seen, unseen, ignorant, and aware. I break all contracts, vows, and agreements with all people on the journey who have corrosive charge and polarity towards me. I release all corrosive charge and polarity I have stored for later experiences with them, for I wish to not have any more experiences with those who wish me harm or hardship. I cannot support the fraud imposition between us in any way, shape, or form. I reject your lies and spiritual propaganda. I reject you and the false wisdom you stand for. I reject you for your unhealed wounds you project onto others so you may never have to face your own inner demons. I return to you all your projections on me that cause harm, cause strife, put me in a position to take on your responsibilities. You must stand on your own 2 feet without me. My love and my support. For I've learned you will only consume those around you. For that's all you know, is how to be betrayed and pretend to be the victim. Whew. Powerful words there. All right, everybody, I want you to go into the chat room and write what you feel about being betrayed and dealing with all different aspects of betrayal type energy. That's going to be a general conversation topic here before we go ahead and take our callers. Santo, what is the relationship between secrets and shadow self? Depends on the secret. There are times like when you're raising children and you keep the secret of Santa Claus. Is that a shadow? No, that's a playful light scenario. But then there are secrets, let's say like somebody is cheating on a lover. The lover has no other lover, has no awareness that it's going on. That's the shadow in alignment with the ego. Now, let's say another scenario. Let's say somebody's in a dating scenario and they can't hold a job down, but constantly tell the person they're holding a job down until their debt grows so big they beg for money. That's manipulation. So there's a variety, and I mean a variety of types of shadow actions that can be attached to many, many other aspects. Sometimes it's the ego itself that enables the shadow to come forward decades later because the ego runs out of choices, bad choices to give the self. Okay? Joyce, the reflection of, I'm sorry, Paul, the betrayal can trip down the Egyptian, or trip down the river, yes. Oftentimes people that are the betrayers, they're the abusers and the victimizers, and they don't, let's just say, give a shit. And therefore, the river in Egypt is something they sail on all the time, and it's real for them. Their false reality becomes real. Okay. So, Jonathan, it's like we are born into betrayal. It's like an ancestral debt, experiencing and learning. In some scenarios, betrayal is karmic, a repetition journey. And oftentimes those contracts have been closed and betrayal is repeated and repeated and repeated because forced evolution has taken over the mission, and natural co-creative evolution, which includes betrayal as a journey, isn't normal anymore. When did betrayal start? As soon as there was consciousness. For one believes another. It is via perspective. So here's one from Santo. When in a situation of betrayal and there is both shadow and betrayal, work on your own shadow first or address the issue directly with the person betraying you. If it's mutual betrayals, usually your shadows are working together and you got to do inner work on your own self to remove their shadow from your choice points. And if they don't do the inner work equal to your removing your shadow from them, it's often too hard to separate the truth. And a lot of times in long-term relationships, people's personalities become entangled in such a way that their shadows form a union and start working together to fuck each other up. This is why people end up not doing their own inner work. They're always saying, I'm doing the inner work for you. That's why in this particular one I put in, because so many people end up taking on the imperative journeys of others. And I'd say imperative meaning they're supposed to be doing their inner work and they're not. How many callers have we seen that they're in a relationship and the other person doesn't have a single ounce of spirituality, a single ounce of spiritual hygiene? They don't give a shit, really, when it comes to the unseen world, let alone the seen world. So that puts a where the other person's holding the burdens, and often those burdens are betrayed over and over again. Okay, so Robert, we're going to spin that wheel of callers and see who comes up on the journey of a conversation of betrayal and evolving the conscious spirit communications to the next particular level.
Alrighty, our first caller will be Julie F. Julie, you are unmuted with Andrew on betrayal.
Julie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from today?
I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky, welcome to the show. What did you think of the opening speech on betrayal?
Well, I caught the, I guess not the end of it. I'm connected in like 5 minutes after it started. And it is so crazy that you're doing it on betrayal, because that is like a big thing that is coming up in my universe, I guess, to try to heal. And it's so interesting because there's so many different layers of it that I guess I'm trying to figure out where is the source of it, right? Because I feel like all the things that happen are really just repeating that same scenario when it happened, right? And so with that, I was like, okay, well, where's the source? Because I feel like when I started working on the individual things in this life, whether, my past, my parents, my friends, anything that I met, and then I went to past lives, and it just seemed like, okay, well, that just is repeating what in this life. So I was like, well, there's got to be a source. Like, where is the source of this betrayal that is happening? And I haven't found it yet, I guess. And then in some ways I think, okay, well, is it the fact that I've become physical and separated from source, and that's what's caused the great betrayal? And I've keep creating these scenarios. Does that make sense?
How many betrayals have you experienced, serious ones?
Oh, well, in this life, other lives, like, what are we talking? To what degree are you talking about?
This life.
This life? In this life, I guess the biggest one that, that I guess it took me a while to even see that was the biggest one is when I was about like 7 or 8. I don't know. I think it's 8 because I think that's how old you were in 3rd grade. But my mom dropped me and my younger sister off at school, and she never picked us back up from school. So that was pretty traumatic. And I never saw my older sister, because we had an older sister after that, until about like 5 or 6 years later. So she went through her own journey.
Have you been able to forgive her on your own level?
Yeah, because
You're still here, though.
yeah, I think it's the shock of it. I think what hurts, but
You're how old now?
30, 37, I think.
So let's say 29 years later, you're still in shock? No, you're not.
I mean, I guess it's not as bad because I know I asked mom, because it's so weird. Like, our family never talked about anything. I mean, we were just told that my mom had a headache, and that's not the case. She actually had a complete, utter meltdown. I mean, this is what I found out later when mom got custody of us again, but she shouldn't have, because she was not in the state to get custody of us. But it was shocking to some degree, because when you're that young and you're just told, oh, your mom has a headache, but then when you go to see her, she's in a lockdown facility and we have to have a doctor there monitoring us and her. That was a little like, what the hell's going on? So I feel like now I'm just piecing all that together, and then come to find out that
betrayal because you were lied to, betrayal.
Yeah, all the time. And then just now hearing,
let me help you here. You need to learn to do blanket forgiveness on the whole subject. This is why betrayal keeps repeating into you. Because right now you've been betrayed at such a young age. You are looking for betrayal than you are before a lie.
Yeah.
When you're looking for betrayal before a lie, no one is ever going to be truthful. No one has the potential of being truthful to you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Blanket forgiveness, and you got to do it for yourself, not for them.
Yeah.
Forgiveness for the betrayals that have created this soup of expectation of betrayal from everyone.
Yeah.
Now, this childhood trauma is repeated in dozens of past lives.
Yeah.
Meaning it's ancestral. That's why it came from your mother and your father.
Mm-hmm.
But the journey for you is still this overall blanket forgiveness for an extended period of time, so you can battle the programs that are trying to have the long distance endurance race in you, because they've been around since a young age, these betrayal programs. And they're 30 something years old than you, and you ain't going to beat it in 1 week.
Feel like that.
Blanket forgiveness for 4 to 6 months to begin to break down some of those expectation of betrayal programs, so that you can have new layers to your own perspective, where forgiveness can then be extended to someone else because they knew no better in their ignorant, even aware ignorant states of being.
Yeah. Because I'm so tired, Andrew, of always meeting people and just waiting for the other shoe to fall, and even though I don't want to.
For others, this is why the impetus of action is self-choice.
Yeah.
You get forgiveness. Fuck them right now. Fuck everyone else. It's about you now.
Yeah.
So doing your inner work, because they're not going to do their inner work. That's why they betray over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I guess for sure, is that, the main thing that keeps coming up what's even crazier than the betrayal is the fear of.
No. That's your propaganda that you have well done. This is like pure on Trump propaganda on yourself here.
Well, what do you mean?
You've created a story that's easy for you to buy into over many years and many evolutions of yourself that has justified being angry and being hurt all the time.
So that's not the deeper part. The deeper part is just the forgiveness part?
Yeah, because you haven't been able to do it.
I mean, that's what's so trippy, man. I feel like I am, but then...
What does betrayal, what does forgiveness look like to you? Is it, hey, Mom, you're forgiven? Enough, move on? Because that ain't forgiveness. That's filling up a gas tank until the tank's empty again.
I feel like forgiveness for me is when it doesn't hurt in my chest you know, like that pain that you can't
Hurts
describe
your
it.
chest because it's a 37-year program.
Yeah.
And I'm forgiving. One contract revocation doesn't erase 37 years of pain.
No, because I've been doing that. I've been doing everything that I can. I think that's why I get so frustrated is when I feel that ting again, and I'm like, gosh, man, when is this just gonna stop?
You forgive yourself for compounding your own betrayal stories because you were 10 and knew no better, because you were 12 and knew no better, because you were 20 and knew no better. It wasn't until your 30s that you really understood the nature of your mom's fucked upness.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
As a kid, you have no clue. And you
No.
created some of these stories in your mind that justify this inner anger in your heart that hurts today.
Yeah.
That's why you got to forgive yourself. Solely about, I forgive myself for being angry. I forgive myself for creating these stories when I was 10, 11, and 12 that to this day still hurt my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the tough powder inner work when we can't use anyone else to blame.
Yeah. God, that has been my mantra. I take full responsibility. It's been my mantra. And
But you're still not preaching to your own, you're still preaching to an unconverted chorus here.
I know, dude, it's
Your
so
heart still hurts.
frustrating. Yeah, it's like yes, that's what's so frustrating. It's because I want to let it go so bad, and then things happen, and I'm like, well, nope, it's still there.
The 10-year-old in you has so much fucking power. You're not. That's why you got to use extended long-term blanket I am now forgiving self experience of these experiences and target that 10-year-old, that 12-year-old, or that 15-year-old who hated mom, hated. You remember that part of your journey where you hated everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's what's stopping you from forgiving right now, because that's a lot of hate energy. That's what's hurting your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess I was just so angry because nobody was telling us anything that was going on, nothing. And then,
You handle the truth.
Yeah.
You got to be able to go, I forgive myself for not being told the truth. I forgive myself for being lied to. And eventually you'll be able to forgive the external, but you've got to forgive yourself first.
Can you break that down? What does that mean? Why would I?
The trust was broken. Your eternal love and trust, your unconditional love and trust was completely broken and shattered.
Yeah.
Which then perverted into anger, frustration, rage, and hatred. Each compounding onto the other, each with a new evolution of age going, I hate this person. I hate this person more because I found this out. I hate this person even more because they finally told me something that made me hate even more.
That sounds horrible, but
that was the cycle you went through where you learned a little bit, hated, learned a little bit more, learned a little bit more because they doled it out to you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, it was. And then you're right, because the more truth that I found out, the more, anger I got about why would somebody do that to somebody, and like finding out, which is so silly because it's not even mine, but I get angry when, I mean, my gosh, I'm trying to heal that too. I get so angry toward men because I heard about all the horrible things that my mom went through, and that, I don't know, that's silly. I know
men created an issue in your relationships, and it's an overall scenario where your life is completely affected by it. This is why blanket forgiveness for the self is your journey, a 6-month journey.
Yeah.
And learning how to understand how to forgive the self for experiences that were done by an external source. I forgive myself for hurting. That's how you go through it. Hurt was forced on you. I now forgive myself for entangling in that hurt.
Yeah.
That's getting at the core of what was damaged in you and forgiving yourself for going through that experience over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's like forgiving yourself for accepting it, kind of. Is that
for accepting it and compounding it with stories that changed every year as new truths and falseness came out?
Yeah.
Forgiving yourself for buying in and adding to the story. There were plenty of times in your own mind you made up, Mom left because of this. And then a year later you found out this.
Yeah.
And then you added something else to the story because you were angry.
Yeah. It's true. And then I feel so bad sometimes because I hear what Mom went through and I'm like, oh my God, Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And then she was just like, I think that's why she's like, well, that's why I get so angry, because nobody ever asked where the fuck was Dad. And I was like, I know, that's even more crappy. You're absolutely right. Like he wasn't there at all. Like he just popped up every once in a while, took us from the family we were there, and I don't know. You're right. Yeah, it's a lot, I guess.
So forgive yourself first.
Yeah.
6 months of self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
And at the end of that 6 months, you can start to look at forgiving the external sources.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, something else here is you have a lot of projections put onto you, put on by others that the little psychic child picked up on.
Like, what do you mean?
Somebody lying to you and telling you one thing when it was completely different. So you have a lot of distrust of your own psychic skills.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is now creating a rift inside you, because you should be a far more advanced spiritual being than you are right now.
God, I feel that for sure. For sure. Somebody told me once, they're like, Julie, I think you're scared to know who you really are. And maybe that's, I don't know.
And betrayal's covering it up.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I want to heal that. It just resonates so much, is the great betrayal. And it's so funny. Well, maybe that's what it is. It's just starting with this life, even though.
It's about this life right now. Blanket forgiveness for yourself and learning how to give accurate, forgiving words, even though there's an external source doing harm to you. That's by accepting their energy, their projections on you, and being able to use a little part of your strategic genius mind to go, hey, how do I separate myself from these external sources so the self feels forgived?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oop. Not sure what that was. So let me ask you a question here.
Okay.
Are you in a relationship now?
Yeah. We've been together for 8 years and married for 3, and we have 2 kids.
Things going good?
Yeah, God, no. Jesus, they're awesome. She's so patient with me, and all these, I feel like they're just spiritual tantrums that I'm trying to go through with all this stuff, and being so patient, and she's been so wise, and she's been doing her own stuff. So it's so crazy that it's been helping us both out with that. And that's been helping so much, because sometimes I just feel like I'm just walking through the dark, bumping into things, and I feel like I have a light, but I'm like, okay, somehow I missed that one though.
Do you know how to use a compass?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, I know that you hold it and it points at things.
I want you to Wikipedia how to use a compass and go and spend $12 or $15 on a compass.
Okay.
And you can use it every day so you can start finding your inner self. And that you look to the compass: north, I forgive my ancestors; south, I forgive my future selves; east, I forgive the illuminations I didn't have; and the west, I forgive the negative dreams.
Yeah, God, the dreams, Jesus.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was so rough.
This is where you gotta sit down with your patient partner, and you gotta go through the forgiveness exercise, where they gotta hold you accountable, where you are doing 20 minutes a day of forgiving exercise. Yeah. And it can't be the same repetitive ones. Okay?
Okay.
It can't be, I forgive mom, I forgive mom, I forgive mom. No, I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for the variety of subject matters for 20 minutes. Yeah. And it's got to be solely about you, not forgiving the external source just yet. You need to learn to forgive blanketly all the internal betrayals you've gone through.
Okay.
And then accepting those betrayals. All right, darling, I got to let you go and move on to my next caller, but thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, hey, Robert, let's spin that wheel of callers and see who's up next on The Betrayal Show. Haha.
The Betrayal Show. I love it. Monty Dean, you're unmuted with Andrew on Betrayal.
Monty Dean, the infamous comedian from Australia. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Great. It's been a long time since we talked. What's going on?
Well, I did have a couple of questions. However, it wasn't part of the topic. But interesting enough, through synchronicity, I had a friendship for the last 12 months, and that kind of ended. And there's an element of betrayal in that. And I'll preface that with there's mental illness involved from their part. And so I'm sort of, I'm blaming the mental illness for everything. And I still love her, and I'm grieving the friendship, if that makes sense.
Did you love her intimately?
I wanted to, but she came out of rehab. She's like doing the Saturn return, and I was not forcing her to help and doing my normal Piscean help. But I just showed her doors. But I think I amplified the mental illness, and so it was an interesting 12 months.
What was the mental illness?
Personality disorder, borderline personality disorder.
Was it narcissistic borderline personality disorder?
Explain narcissistic. I've gone blank.
It's always about her.
Yeah, there's an element of that, yes.
Everything revolves around her.
Well, she's sort of fighting it, where she would be loose at one time and then it would sort of kick in. She has crippling depression and a lot of crying. And
did she cycle between being the abuser, the victim, and the tyrant?
Yes.
Okay, so it's full-on narcissistic personality disorder with traumatic childhood abuse, probably.
Yes, yes, it is.
You unfortunately found yourself in a scenario where the person can't help themselves.
Yeah.
So you were attracted to her and she was attracted to you from your unseen connections.
Yes, yeah. I keep referring to her as a goddess, but she didn't want to become that. The way I would describe it is I was trying to help her to heal, but she wanted to just have someone to connect into the poor me attitude, where she not enjoyed, but I'm speaking from a soul level. It seemed to be that she enjoyed where she is and didn't want to move forward.
Mm-hmm. It was her a form of stability.
Yeah. And so just a lot of abuse since like January through texting and water off the duck's back type thing, because I realized it was the illness and not her. But it's after 8 months I've decided to stand up for myself, and it got shut down.
Well, I think you loved her more than you wanted to heal her.
Yeah, there's an element of that as well.
So you got to forgive yourself for falling in love with a person who couldn't love back. He is capable of real love.
Yeah.
You didn't realize that right away.
No. I found out.
I got to forgive myself for not seeing she was incapable of real love.
Yeah, okay.
And why did I put myself in this state of being where I was blissfully ignorant to it?
Yeah. It's, I mean, I've learned from it. I'm a better person now than 12 months ago. However, I think that through the synchronicity of being awake at this time, it's to hear that. So thank you.
So the next part of the journey for you is, are you going to be ready for somebody that has the capacity to love you?
I'm going to say yes. So yeah, I'm sort of prepared. I need to close the door on the chapter. Like that. This is where it feels like a grieving process, and so I need to.
Grieving, she could never love you in the first place.
Yeah.
Therefore, you have to take grieving out and realize that there is the shadow at work in you that tricked you.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Shadow, I got you once more to a crazy bitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
One more
always
time.
yeah. Let's see if it's that parting shot, because I've been trying for about that decade, trying not to leave a trail of destruction, and so I think the Shadow's upset about that. So, but yeah, I guess that's the sort of the lessons that I'm up to that point now, and I feel the next one's a keeper, whenever that is.
Don't go into that state yet. That's the Shadow working on you already.
Oh yeah, I'm not going there, because it's like that's a nice idea, but I have to deal with this crap now. So.
Well, that does this. You have to wait for the person to come in and like evolve with them.
Yeah. I remember in our session, I have to find the right vibration to let them into that reality, and so I'm still continuing to get better and improve and move forward, and then the universe will say, "Here you go."
So let me help you here. You have to do the inner work on the Shadow bringing you these crazy women that you're going to fix.
Yeah, I'm over that.
Are you?
Well, I'd like to be over that. Is that a better way of saying it?
Shadow's looking around right there. Hey, there's one in the corner there. She's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you gotta retune your crazy meter.
Yes, use it as a radar instead of a magnet.
No, more like, because your radar and magnet are one and the same right now. It targets the crazy and brings them to you. And you got to realize, well, what's at the first sign of craziness? Do you go, I'm done? Like a spy with a get out plan.
Yeah, yes. Plan. Yeah, always have an exit plan. Yeah.
Well, there has to be an immediate cutoff of what's too crazy and what's I could let it go in the moment because maybe they're drinking or anger, whatever. Just there's a cutoff of crazy.
Yeah.
And you got to firmly establish that in your own belief system.
Yes.
And not let it restrict you, because again, people do have moments where they say some weird things that can be interpreted as "you're a crazy bitch."
Yes. I try and have normal conversations with my family about stuff that we talk about, and they've got that fluoride stare type of like, what?
So what in your mind is one of those cutoff things that says you're too crazy, I can't fix your crazy, oh shit, I'm trying to fix your crazy and your crazy has gotten me entangled?
I just guess negative actions.
Like
well, you got the basic ones of racism, or they're the center of the universe and don't care about anyone else.
Redacting reality. You knew it happened this way, and they're going, it never happened that way.
Yeah, the thing of like, I remember it completely different type things, like, but I was standing next to you, and that never happened.
Right. So those are the things that you have to hold firm in your moral code of not accepting crazy in.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a point of saving face, and then there's a point of creating crazy to save face.
Yes.
Okay. I like what Santo put in the chat room. CCOP, crazy cutoff point. Yes, everyone has this of a CCOP, crazy cutoff point.
Yes, I need a C cop. Yeah, that's what I need.
You need a C cop. Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, the next part of your journey is once you have established the crazy cutoff point and it doesn't strangle you from meeting new people, well, you got to look at the Mr. Fixer inside.
Yeah, and not even, I guess, turn it inwards, but I'm sort of learning that is where, like, people, I've learned slowly, when people ask for help, that's when you help, and you go around helping everybody because that sort of upsets their journey. I'm sort of like a spoiler on the consciousness experience. It's like, stop it, you're helping.
Because you're a comedian and you can heal with comedy really fast.
Yes, yeah, I know that power.
Fixer and the comedian are one and the same, and you got to learn to do the inner work. So the fixer isn't the comedian, so the comedian just be the comic.
Yeah, I think that's an element that could be why the comic element is sort of being held back, because it's doing that. I must save everyone. It's like, well, you can't do that.
Turn it into a bit, dude. Turn it into a bit. Everyone will understand it.
Yes, yeah.
Everyone will
yeah.
understand a comedic fixer inside that uses the fix. Turn it into a bit, a 12-minute bit on stage. Everyone will get it and laugh their ass off.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter where they're on the. Sorry, I've fallen over. Yeah, it doesn't matter where they're on their spiritual journey as well, because the people in 3D will still see that, where they've had elements of just helping people, like their next door neighbor, and then the next day they're throwing their garbage over the fence type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that inner fixer at some point was not part of the comedian. When in your life did the fixer and the comedian blend?
Maybe early 20s.
Okay. And what really made them blend?
There may have been a level of I can meet girls, and so I can be, I guess, more attractive is to let me help you with this. Yes.
Pow, here's the punchline.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of the inner work.
Yes.
Free the comedian of getting you crazy women.
Yeah, it does sound like a stereotype. Like, so yes.
Free the inner comedian. Make it a T-shirt.
Yeah. I've met my inner child. Now my comedian needs attention.
Yeah, he needs some antibiotics.
Stat, yes.
Yes. Okay. Free your inner comedian. Okay.
Actually, that is a good T-shirt.
Your inner comedian. There are some scenarios where your inner comedian and your fixer worked really hard to keep people in relationships with you, both friends and those that you wanted intimately.
Yeah.
So,
and it's only just an aspect of me, not the whole me type thing.
Right. So freeing that inner comedian is going to give you all these other jokes about yourself, the shit that you went through, the trials and tribulations, and then there might be another hour stand-up bit that can really help people through comedy in a different way. That's recasting the fixer to see the big picture.
Yes, because I haven't done stand-up for about 5 or 7 years, because I'm in Melbourne, Victoria, and it's very progressive. And so because I'm centrist, I hate these labels. However, I don't support Trump, but I'll attack all the left, like the insanity, like Hillary Clinton. Have you noticed her clone's not looking that good anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also, you'll love this. Well, hopefully you like this joke. Have you seen Bill Clinton lately? Something's sucking the life out of him, and it's not Monica.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could do. This is the age of the internet. You don't need to do comedy in clubs anymore.
Yeah, it's especially like doing it to 20 people. I can get 10 times that just doing a YouTube video.
Right. So why are you really not doing comedy?
Just fear, I guess, of being called, a Nazi and a racist and all that sort of thing, because I don't have that progressive side of things. Also, for the last 2.5 years, I've been a carer for my stepdad, who was bedridden, and he's walking again. So there was just, I guess, the stress about that and not having the nightlife to go out and sort of focus on the comedy side.
The nightlife. The new comedian in you can do it a different way.
Yeah. And I'm still doing the round table every Wednesday. And so I'm keeping up my comedy chops on that, talking to people as well. So I have a new path.
A new path to comedy.
Yes, because I wondered what was restricting me, and if it's...
Why don't you unrestrict yourself from the subject matter you're forced to talk about that limits you to people are going to project on me their thoughts of this, and this?
Yes, yeah, that's sort of that thought has popped up. So it's finding that bravery again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, bravery. Did you see the new Dave Chappelle stand-up and Stones?
Yes, I did, as well as the Bill Burr one. I actually laughed out loud, which is very rare in this day and age.
I think you might want to take some cues, LBGTQs, from that, so that you can take the restrictions of the last 5 to 7 years of not doing comedy on stage, but doing it for your radio show, which has an audience that expects you to say the same fucking jokes over and over again.
Yes, I've noticed that because I keep dropping the same ones over and over, like that Bill Clinton one. That's been used for about 4 years.
Right. And just so happens you broadcast to Trumpistan.
Yeah. And I point out, as I'm not a Trump follower. I would never vote for him. But who's up against? Hillary Clinton. I'm Trump. Because that was the only options, and people don't understand that. So, well, most people do. So.
You got to go against the grain and start doing some other jokes. Example, you've been taking care of your father. I guarantee you there's some funny ass stuff you can do that everyone can relate to.
Yes, yeah. Like for the first 6 months, he had to use a hoist to like be moved out of the bed and to go to the bathroom, and it just felt like I was a wharfie for a while, just like up and over and down. So
a lot of people are going to laugh at that.
Yeah, because there seems to be maybe a sidestep, but just very quickly, what is it with? I'm not sure it's a lot, but kids helping out their parents. You know, when someone helps a loved one for 3 years, they put their own life on hold. And is that sort of soul contracts or anything like that, or is it just randomness?
It's love.
Yeah.
That's love. Does it have spiritual contracts? Yeah. Are you going to love them enough to do it or not?
Yes. Well, we've all survived, so I think I did well.
Yes, you loved enough.
Yeah.
Contract done. He's getting better.
Yes. Yeah. He walked for nearly a mile a couple of days ago, so that's pretty good for.
Made you proud of him, didn't it?
Yeah, because I can actually go and do other stuff now. Yeah.
Turn it into a bit, man. Turn it into a comedy bit. Go, Pops.
Yeah,
I'm going to make you famous.
Yes. Yeah, I'll have to, because I did a comedy course back in 2000. And anytime you have this is for anyone listening, if you have a comedic idea, you write it down in a small notepad, and it's called a checkbook. And if you have a comedic, you write that idea. And when you sit down to do your writing, you go through your checkbook and then you pull out an idea and cash that check, which is the comedic idea, and then turn it into jokes. And then you start doing it on stage or
if
however.
You're really lucky that check, when you cash it, turns into a joke grenade. And an hour later, they get the joke when you're off a stage.
Oh yeah, that's the fun part when you say a joke and they're driving home, like that was brilliant. It's like
exactly.
Yeah, but comedy is one of the best jobs ever, where you have instant gratification or an instant response. So a lot of driving home ones is like, unless I'm following them in a car, they. But still, that way they'll come back and see you again.
So I've actually been thinking about putting together a stand-up routine because I've done 9 years of this public broadcasting. Let me tell you, so I could take stories from my private sessions and turn into some of the most unique stand-up bits.
Yes, remember when you came onto the round table that we did like about 20 minutes of just one-liners of like spiritual pickup lines.
Yes.
Like I see you and me. Do you want to come home and fuck yourself? Stuff like that. So yeah, and why not? Because you like a good laugh, and I think it won't freak people out, but people will be very amused by it. Like just doing 5 minutes of just telling stories, or however long you want to do it. I'm sure people will enjoy it.
And there's so many different types of comedic genres out there, and then the tools to present comedy through storytelling that has an emotional response to it and a laughter response to it. You take somebody like Gabriel Iglesias, comes down overweight on stage and talking about Fluffy, then he pulls out a donut line in cups. You know that's going to get a laugh.
Oh, yes, yes. I've actually got a bit of a routine about weight as well, because I've been losing weight because I stopped smoking marijuana, and the body's gone, finally, and I put on all this weight. I've lost like 10 centimeters or about 3 inches on my waist over the last 12 months. And one gag that I have is I can breathe and do up my shoe again.
Good job.
Yes, that's like, did you go for a run? No, I just tied up my left shoe.
I know my left shoe.
Yeah, so there's and another one is you walk past a school or a kindergarten, and because your mass is so heavy, you have small children stuck in your orbit.
Yeah. Okay, you got them there. You got them. So what's it really take to get back on stage?
Oh, see now, about 12 hurdles just popped up in my mind. I need to start at the writing section and write 5 minutes. And my idea at the moment is to write. Well, fine. Do I go truth comedy or just comedy at the moment? And then I start to worry. I guess I need 5 minutes of material that I know is funny and it doesn't sound like a lecture. And from that, then learn it, and then I know I can get some gigs somewhere.
Why do you have to use truth comedy?
It seems to be my mission because I like to help. Oh, there's the Mr. Fix-It.
Fixer in the comedian or mixing. Yeah. You just got to give the fixer its own 5-minute speech, and then they give the comedian the follow-up and actually have a personality battle, the fixer versus the comedian as a bit. And you're going to heal the shit out of yourself. Comedian, figure it out on your own. Comedian's like, yeah, bitch, I'm going to.
Yeah.
And then you have your mama jokes between the fixer and the comedian in you.
Yes, yeah. And once I learn that, rehearse, then I can get on stage and go for it.
You can go do an open mic night and it won't matter, will it?
Not really. Well, I tried that about a year and a half ago, and 50 people turned up. It freaked me out because they usually have a small crowd. But then the nerves kicked in because it's with stand-up comedy. It's like stage time, flying time. You need to keep doing it.
Stage when I do events, Living the Mystical Life Daily, I'm on from 10 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night with a 2-hour break. I get it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You're still doing an open mic night. It's not like your name's in the marquee lights. And start your. This is open mic night. I may be good. I may be bad. I want you to write down on a piece of paper, fold it up into an airplane. And when I'm done, throw it at me, good or bad.
Yeah.
Learn your audience engagement again. Once you remember audience engagement skills, the natural comedic you is going to flow out.
Yes, yeah, I see what you're saying. Because it's said that stand-up comedy is easy. It's just really hard to learn. And I just have to remember it again.
Endure.
Yes.
Endure.
And that's where the bravery and having the energy to move forward at the moment. Because I think that's one of the blocks in the mind was like, oh, I can do a gig, and then there's all the other gigs where it's trying out. I manifest a timeline that doesn't exist where it's like defeatist.
Well, then turn it into a bit.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's what I've been trying to find an opening line, and here's one of them that I'm thinking. I was like, hey, I haven't done stand-up comedy for 5 years, and let me show you why. And then go into it.
Let me show you why. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is, defeatist. Well, that's where you got to pick up the psychologist. Inner defeatist does this, and this, and a comedian says do this, and this. You got to be willing to use some of these medical terminologies and turn their words on them because that's what comedians do.
Yeah.
You can
finding
be
connections.
Very educational in your comedic process. Let's say look at the Bill Burr one. The brilliant teaching material, just like Sticks and Stones, brilliant teaching material through comedy.
Yeah. Actually, that's instead of being the fixer, just be the teacher.
Be the teacher.
Yeah.
Be the teacher and allow the subject matter itself, which has already got the charge and polarity in everyone else's mind. You're just tapping into the energy of what's public. And what's in the room may not be what the public will experience. That's why sometimes you experience some badass audiences.
Yeah.
So the next journey for you is fixing the fixer to be the educator.
Yes, go to school again,
Well,
spiritual school. No, not school, but spiritual change. There you go. That's a better way of saying it.
stopping being the old school you fixer and
Yeah.
being the new school. Maybe you got to throw a rap line in there.
Yeah, yeah. Because I can go a bit woo woo where I drop the Schumann resonance, and so, if I have small one liners like that, it may hit the spiritual person in the background, and everyone else is like, what was that? And there's one guy at the back pissing himself because it's like, I know what he's talking about, and then go into a dick joke. So yeah,
and then you get to build your niche audience.
yes, yeah,
Okay,
because there's enough of us.
right. There's plenty of us that are plenty of people out there that are closeted spirituality people. That's why I said I was thinking about doing a stand-up comedy. I'm actually serious. So I've got about an 8-minute bit thing that I've been working out, and I'll do it at some point. It's just the challenge of running 3 companies and all the employees is got its own journey right now. But I want to evolve. I want to be able to do stuff, and I guarantee they'll be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Why is he the Galactic historian on a comedy show?" I think it'd be perfect.
Exactly. Also, I had a thought, like if you're doing a 10-hour session, David Icke style, you could open one when you after the break, just do 8 minutes where everyone's like, what's going on? I'm crying from laughter here. And then after you do your 8 minutes, you can do however long, 10, 20 minutes on the healing properties of laughter and comedy and go from there.
Mm-hmm. And you can do the same.
Yes. Well, I won't do 10 hours.
No, but
unless they're paying enough.
Minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you build a show for an hour or 45 minutes if you're trying to do, let's say, a paid bit with your name in the lights like you did before?
The headlining gig that I did was half an hour. So 20 minutes. You say 20 minutes is usually the headlining hour, headlining spot at the moment.
At the moment, why don't you try building a 35-minute starter and break them into 7 5-minute bits or 5 7-minute bits?
Yeah. That I thought really that way.
You don't have to memorize 5 concepts or 7 concepts.
Yeah, because I had that thought of that way I can keep going back to venues, and that if they're 5 minutes, I do different material, 7 gigs at a venue, and then I can start recycling.
And learning how to go, I got to take this one out because Trumpistan jokes aren't going to work in this audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they might work in this audience. I got to take a risk.
Oh yeah. Well, I have one joke about Trump, whereas he is the president of the United States, but he looked directly at a solar eclipse. So I'm not saying anything, but also,
There's so much comedic material on Trump, it's ridiculous.
But I would also try and bring in balance of making fun of Hillary as well, so that way people have
Hillary's the joke you've heard 10,000 times.
Yeah. In comedy as well is unfortunately Trump is the subject of Trump is waning very thin because everyone keeps using it for 3 years, and so by doing it differently,
and not even differently, there are plenty of other aspects of comedy and politics that don't involve Trump.
Yes, yeah, do the broad spectrum.
Just broad spectrum example, the comedy of what the deep state really is. Do you think the government is really that organized to have a deep state?
they're like a 4-year-old having a tantrum. Yeah.
Okay, or let's talk about fake news. And it's not about Trump at that point. Well, the news is fake. See how many times CNN has said, my guy is live in Afghanistan and they're standing out in front of a fucking green screen?
Yeah, or even standing in a puddle, there's floodplains, and then a guy walks behind him, apparently Jesus, because he's only an inch top of the water.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
New ways of setting the audience up who's expecting a Trump joke. And you don't to them unless it's like you really think that they're going to laugh at the Trump joke. And it's got to be something twisted, really, really twisted and new, flavorfully new.
Yeah, I actually, the MAGA hat, I have my own version, which I bought online, where it says, made you look again. So I haven't been brave enough to wear that, but I can probably start wearing that on stage because it's a total misdirect. Because if people can't read it correctly, they think, "Oh, hang on, he's a Republican, Trump, racist, whatever," and then all of a sudden, I can bring that in at the start. It's like, see how it says "made you look again," and it's a small laugh, and then go from there. And
see, the thing is, Trump actually is not a Republican. If you look at he's not a Republican at all.
He's not a politician either.
Correct, not a politician either.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a deeper question. Why do you like doing comedy?
Making people laugh. It's
deeper than the Tinder, I'm a comedian, I like to make people laugh.
I was trying to back that up. There's a joy by making people have forget them world for a moment. They're laughing and they're actually in a, I guess, when true laughter is when they're in a 0 point energy. Like my dad was going into open heart surgery. He called me. I made him laugh. I was proud of myself. He survived. He's fine. On the weekend, I went over to my brother's house and playing with my niece, who's 3, and I was making her laugh for about 5 minutes. And so it is that sort of sharing of joy. And there's also an element of control, because if you're laughing hysterically, you can't do anything else. But it's just that sharing of of a positive vibration and making people laugh.
Beautifully put.
Thank you.
And
that's why I need to finish. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. You're frozen at my end. I have no idea what you're saying.
Andrew, if you can hear us, you're
need to make that.
It's getting tough.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
So you might have to repeat that.
So what I was saying is you got to get your comedian and your fixer to work on literally what you just said, that last 45 seconds, so that you have a way of telling people why you do comedy. So it educates and makes laugh. And it's its own bit for itself, and it can be used on anyone outside of the comedic line. It can be one of those great things that just is put together that everyone wants to meme about. Why comedy heals.
Yes. A friend of mine who is an author wants to do humor healing as an idea of a book. So lovely synchronicity.
Yeah. So you doing your radio show tonight or tonight?
Yes. 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the United States, and it's called Planet Collingwood, and it's an open roundtable on Revolution Radio Studio A.
Maybe if I'm up at that time, I'll give you a holler.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, because I still have 2 questions. If you pop on, actually, I'll ask the second one because it's very short. From my spiritual point of view, experience with 5D, am I a watcher? I just seem to be like in a waiting room and watching everything unfold, or am I just in no time space at this point in time to have this conversation to become a comedian again?
Well, the comedian has to be a watcher of people to know what's going on. But I also think you're a watcher right now because the times are so fucking crazy. You don't want to jump on a bandwagon and choose a side long before you should have.
There's that feeling as well.
If you choose a side, you've already lost.
Yes.
And do comedians really choose sides?
No, because it restricts your humor, and it's like the court. The smartest person in the court is the court jester, because they can make fun of the king and stay alive.
That's right. So watching is a part of your journey. It's called the sacred neutral observer.
Yes.
So it's okay to be a watcher.
Oh yeah, I just need to reaffirm. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, cool.
So your other part to your question there is about what to do with it.
Yeah, and
action. Don't choose a side. That's the first thing. Keep yourself unlimited by not choosing a side. And then there's going to come a moment where the content creation itself may make it look like you're choosing a side. But that's where the inner genius can string together words that puts the twist on it.
Yes, and that's basic joke writing, where it's usually a shock or a twist at the end of a sentence.
Right. And then using stuff from your other bits that it all connects together.
Yeah. What's referred to as a callback. Like Bill Burr did that great one, how he ends the show. Where does this come from? And he uses that.
So hard. Yeah. I laughed so hard on that. It's very hard. And it was after watching Sticks and Stones that I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this stand-up comedy routine. And I started going through some of my old thoughts, and I'm like, all right, I could tell so many yoga mom jokes. It's ridiculous.
Yes. It's like the climate activists swear, we have to save the planet. Let's do yoga on a petrochemical mat.
Yes.
Well done.
Exactly. Well done. Monty, thanks a lot for calling in. We got to go on our break now. If I'm up at 2 a.m. Eastern, I'll call in on Rev Radio.
Awesome. Yeah, you're still on my Skype, so just give me a message and I'll add you. Thank you for the chat.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling in. All right, let's go on our break right now, and when we come back, we will take some more callers.
Okay, our break will be about 10 minutes. There will be no countdown for those of you who like that. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Outstanding. So what did you want to talk about today?
Oh, Andrew, there's so much actually. But I maybe following along the lines of this last caller with partners. There's also some stuff. There's been some synchronicities with the calling in. I guess as to be expected with the cranial-sacral work. And I believe we've spoken previously about me doing craniosacral, and I just want to thank you immensely and say that it's been such an amazing experience, and some of the things that it has brought out and the glimpses working with the revocations has been truly incredible, with visions in being back inside of the womb. And releasing a lot of tensions and getting the body going in a more grounded way.
So what would you say the biggest thing that the cranial sacral has done for you?
Oh, it's the biggest thing. There are two, can I do in two parts?
Sure.
Thank you. So I've had repeated head trauma, and so it's been able for me to relax and have a more awareness of the tensions that were underlining in my body. I would class myself as someone who is reasonably aware because I do a lot of qigong and internal martial arts. So I have an awareness of that, but this has gone even deeper, and it's been able to release not only on a myofascial level, but I think also on a spiritual level in this time, and given me more glimpses in terms of visions of being inside of my mother's womb, but also on my perceived deathbed. I wasn't expecting that, Andrew.
Did you have any teary breakdowns during the cranial-sacral somatic release?
No, not as yet. I had lots of sensations within my body, almost like a gentle vibration, and yeah, stuff like that, and hot and cold and.
Yeah. So that is just the rearrangement of the fascia so that you can get clarity from the previous head injuries you had. So there's going to come a time in your cranial-sacral practice you're going to have what's called a somatic release. Have you heard that term before?
I believe I have.
That's where you have a teary breakdown just from them touching one particular point.
Okay, yeah, that definitely.
What I'm sensing is there's a head trauma, but whenever there's head trauma, there's trauma that's all done to the tailbone too.
We don't see those memories. We don't get access to those memories because a hierarchical system has divided us in spirit and in the flesh. That's why we have a left brain and a right brain. So one of today's teachings is about combining the left brain and the right brain. It's about understanding the cranial-sacral pulse, something that I have been talking about for quite some time. I really hope that people go out to the Upledger website, upledger.com, and check out what cranial-sacral is. In the little middle right-hand corner of the website, you'll see Find a Therapist Near You. The sacral pulse, that is when our brain is in full fluid flow through your spinal column, into your tailbone. And to the left or right of your tailbone are two little fluid sacs that pump. Constantly pumping what? Cranial fluid. That creates a cranial sacral pulse. In between the beats of your heart, that cranial pulse is using the beat of your heart and all the other motion that it creates so that there's constant pumping action between your brain and your tailbone. So that cranial fluid, which ultimately provides the electrochemical stimulus to create synaptic expression so that all the synaptic nerve endings are fed by said cranial fluid so that they have full energy with them. People that have back energies and cervical spine injuries, compressed tailbones, you have a limitation for an ability to cranial fluid flow. People that are in depression, regression, and obsession, people that are obsessive compulsives, you too also have a limitation with your cranial sacral pulse. Somewhere within the atlas and the axis of the back of your neck, or where your jawbone connects just under your ears, known as your mastoid. Cranial sacral can take care of a tremendous amount of what people call quirks. When your body is quirking like that, it's because something is mechanically malfunctioning. Many, many radio shows, people ask me, what is your galactic history? And the next question I say to them is, I'd rather deal with the medical stuff first for you to understand the galactic history. Why? You need to be clear and full in understanding of the position of the being that you're in. People come to the radio show, some in need of health work, some just need the spirit work. The cranial pulse, that's the first thing I look for when I'm reading a person. That first thing when I said, hey caller, where are you calling from? And they go, I'm Jane from Indiana. Well, Jane from Indiana, the very first thing I'm doing is looking at your crown chakra. And I'm looking at how it actually connects into your atlas and axis. And I'm reading the 7 color frequencies in each and every one of your vertebrae in your spinal column. That tells me absolutely everything about you in the now without any restrictions to your secrets or compartmentalizations to your secrets. That is how wide open of a human being everyone in this world is. Don't be afraid at all. It's medical diagnosis of, on a spiritual level, 101. Are you a 7 color frequency being or not? Joy is having 7 color frequencies in your life. You can create joy at any moment and the chemical stimulus that comes behind it. But it will be your programs that ultimately prevent you from stepping forward to create the chemical stimulus for the chemical stimulus to occur. The cranial sacral pulse ultimately determines how much oomph you have at any moment. Okay? That determines what level of energy is going to come to you through a session on a radio show with both Kathy and myself. A masculine and a feminine, 2 polar different perspectives, yet speaking a very similar language and getting to the very similar points of view at the end teaching. And I cherish Kathy's as a co-host because each perspective that we present is a signature frequency teaching of the moment. There is nothing else like that. We're choosing to be signature frequency teacher of the moment teachers. And I would hope that people pick those words apart. For years, I have been a conjugation master, connecting word phrases that stop some of the most genius minds in their tracks. Why? Because we've reached a point where our 26-letter alphabet is a code for understanding the infinite. And that code for understanding the infinite is what people believe in. The cranial-sacral pulse is what you believe in yourself.
Oh, welcome back, everyone, to our Betrayal Comedy Hour. Here we go, everyone. Everyone is coming back from your break. Sit down. All right, Robert, let's spin that wheel of collars and see who the universe is providing us.
I hope I get this name right. Georgia Diarcy. You're
Georgia,
unmuted.
are you there? Going once.
Oh, you need to do it.
Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
We can barely hear. You got to come closer to the microphone.
Hello, Andrew.
Yeah,
Can
you
you
sound like you're underwater. We can
Oh,
barely hear you.
I do apologize, Andrew. I'm actually in Australia.
Okay, let's see if we can go a little bit farther. It's getting really hard to hear you. Are you on a cell phone?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you try bring it? Are you on speakerphone?
Yes.
Take it off of speakerphone.
Okay. How's that?
Not that much better.
You know
Sounds
what,
like there
Andrew?
might be food in the microphone.
Yeah, you got something blocking your microphone.
Andrew, move on to someone else. Don't let this go to waste. Move on to someone else.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay.
I will do. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Robert. Let's spin the next wheel of callers.
Okay, Jonathan Martinez, you're on with Andrew.
Jonathan, are you there?
Hey, Andrew.
How are you
Yes, I
doing
am.
today? Where are you calling
I'm
from?
good. Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, welcome to the show again. How are things going for you?
Good. I'm about to reheat some food that I had made for myself earlier today. So,
Nice. So what did you think about our Betrayal Revocation and the comedy conversation we had?
I could really relate to the betrayal, from being on both sides of it throughout my life, feeling betrayed and doing betraying also for myself and others. The revocation was pretty powerful. I took some notes. And then with the comedy, it was pretty inspiring because I am a creative person in myself, and I have written some comedy flows throughout my life. At the moment, though, I'm writing. I kind of wanted to put my mind on a horror film, I guess, because that's something simple where I can explore dialogue and things like that.
Why horror?
But I write music mainly on my
why horror?
Horror. Well, Halloween, and I used to have a fascination with horror as a kid, and I figured mainly out of simplicity because the story of a horror film is like a group of people, and then they have their characters, and something happens that they react with fear in certain ways. And my idea is that there's actually nothing in the woods. It's a camping group that goes camping, and their own fear moves them into like precarious situations where they might end up killing themselves or whatever. And not necessarily a monster in the woods, but just their own paranoia.
So do you know that there's no difference between horror and drama and all the plot tools that they use?
I could see that, but I've never thought about there being no difference.
Unfortunately, when it comes to writing things, you have plot tools that define genre. Horror and drama are the same plot tools. I'll give you a thing here. Maybe you need to mix your drama and your horror. And you can have so many examples of girlfriends going wrong, and that's the horror story. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of reasons why people choose horror first, because it's one of the easiest things to film. Now, I was in the haunted house business, and I have an affinity for certain types of horror genres. I don't like the gore, but when you use the right form of horror, you can create something that has a fun ride to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like an experience, I guess.
Right. As an example, like there's so many stories. And this is not to pick on women, because we got a man as a caller here, an ex-girlfriend that's nuts. And to make it a horror genre, basically the girl's haunted. Okay? And instead of the girl creating all the drama, it's the ghost creating it all. Okay?
Which is probably not too far from the truth.
Bingo. Okay? And then you get to incorporate your own music into it. Horror love song. We have a whole new genre you could create right there.
Yeah, it's funny because I particularly have stayed away from writing love songs. So a horror love song, I don't know, that could be fun to actually do and think about what that would mean.
Creative challenge.
So do you mind if we talk a little bit about betrayal?
Sure, go right ahead.
So throughout my life, I guess, early on, I found, like, as a human child, your picture of love comes from your parents, right? And early on, I guess, as a child, because you're still kind of understanding the world and making your conclusions, but I had felt like I was betrayed by the person who loved me the most, who was my mother, in a way that had to do it was focused around school and the schooling system and grades. And then it evolved into a more dynamic kind of back and forth. But that's where it stemmed from, was school. And it led me to betraying my mom in a way, because I lied to her about my grades. And then the betrayal in the opposite way was that, like, there was some physical abuse that stemmed from that. And I've always felt like that was a very, like, pinprick moment in my life where I think I accepted something very negative as far as a coping mechanism, which might have been like,
why did a pinprick affect you so deeply?
I guess the straw that broke the camel's back in that moment, I guess. It was like, I can picture it in my mind, the moment when I looked up and I was like, you know what, I think I'm disconnecting from this reality in a way. And then I said some prayers, because I was a pretty spiritual kid, but I said some prayers, and with my knowledge now, I realize that whenever you are sending things out there, anything can be replying. And in that moment in my life, I was pretty vulnerable.
You ready to forgive yourself?
Yeah.
So what stopped you?
Not only that, I guess, like, again, that overall blanket of forgiveness, because it's not just that, it's like all of these things that I imagine myself not to be, that I've been a part of in my life experience, that makes me feel guilty or ashamed. And
What are you guilty and ashamed of? Being a kid?
all the times I've had to lie to people because I felt like I was like what I had to say wasn't something that they could accept. The times that I've stolen for just as like a young kid growing up.
Being dumb and stupid.
Yeah, like all of those things. It's hard for me.
Worthy of your own forgiveness?
Could you repeat that?
Are you worthy of your own forgiveness?
Yes.
Then start there.
Thank you.
You're going to discover as by being worthy of your own forgiveness, it's going to open up doorways that you never knew you had doorways to.
I've kind of noticed glimpses of that throughout the last few weeks, where throughout my day-to-day life, I have my different thoughts. And there was a point several times throughout this last week or two where I reached that, where like, Jonathan, you are okay, like relatively doing well, and you just need to continue like working on yourself. And I've been a big writer throughout my life. I recently bought a calendar and some journals and things so I can like double down on my documenting my journey, and it's been really helpful. And I guess a part of the aspect of my mom that was given down to me is kind of an OCD perfectionism, because she's a very spiritual person, very cleanly, like wakes up at 4 a.m. and cleans the whole house and has panic attacks if it's not done. And I think maybe part of that has passed on to me in a spiritual sense, where again, I just need to realize I'm worthy of my own forgiveness and things like this.
Not the projections of others.
Yeah. That is also
forgive
a
yourself
big topic recently.
the projections of others. Forgive yourself for taking on the projections of others to the changes the core of you, and to the point you don't know who you are anymore. Are you worthy of that layer of forgiveness to yourself?
Yes, it's been a process, I guess, solidly for about the last 4 years. I've been coming back to that level of forgiveness, I guess, because we have all a certain sine wave, I guess, that we go through in life of awareness and unawareness. And since I've discovered this path, I've been trying to maintain it the best that I can with my own, footfalls. But yeah, I do believe I'm at that state where that is what I feel like is probably the thing that we should all be doing in our lives, is trying to reach this level of forgiveness. But even more than that, because that's the first step. Hello?
I think we just lost Andrew. If everyone will hang out for a second, I'll see if I can get him back real quick. And we'll put on some music while he's coming back in.
Okay.
Yep.
Restore him over here too.
There you are.
There we are. Sorry about that. I was having a thunderstorm over here too, and we had a quick power failure, and I guess the router kind of got weirdo.
It's okay.
Okay. I missed like the last 30 seconds, 40 seconds of what you were saying.
Okay, so the last thing that I had mentioned was just that it ultimately did all come back to the level of forgiveness that I can bring to myself in as many moments as I can, because we do have our ups and downs of awareness and unawareness where we can be dragged back and forth through our environment. And again, I'm right now trying to build back up my field of impenetrable beingness, which is something that I took notes on earlier from an older caller. But hello?
Andrew, you still with us?
Now? Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, I can hear you better now.
All right, Robert, I'm going to leave my video off while this thunderstorm passes.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Finish, Jonathan.
So forgiveness for myself is probably the first step to the process of embodying the self the best that I can throughout my day-to-day life.
It's the most important step on your this part of the journey. You're on a journey of 1,000 steps, and right now you're on step 235, and to step around 500, it's forgiveness of the self. So that steps 500 to 999 show you how far in the journey you've really gone.
Okay. That does make sense for where I am right now.
Now, when it comes to the situation where you had to, in school, you had to basically lie to your mom, every kid does that. Every kid does that. Oh, every kid. And something you have to understand, school isn't for everyone. And you have to be able to, at some point, forgive your mom because she had no choice. What was she going to do, homeschool you? No, you would have never handled homeschooling.
Yeah.
Okay? So you'll have to have an external forgiveness without people in it. Forgive the schools. Forgive the teachers. Forgive them. But right now, the initial part is blanket self-forgiveness so that you can begin to separate what is you versus projections of others. So you know what truly you is. Right now, so many projections of others are put on you, you don't know who you are anymore. That's why you've turned to writing. That's why you've turned to music, to rediscover you.
Yeah, I find that I always surprise myself with discovering parts of myself that it's like, oh, I didn't even know that I was like that or that I enjoyed that. So beyond school, I guess there have been relationships with love, intimate relationships. And when I was 20, I had a son with the mother of my child, and then I was with her for about 5 years. And in 2017, we broke up, and I did get into a relationship after that. Right now, I'm alone. I'm single and just kind of working on myself. But there's also been levels of betrayal within those kinds of parts of my life as well.
Forgiveness.
Is it?
It's still about forgiveness of the self for you here.
And is it important for me to take the hermit journey at the moment? Is that okay that I'm kind of like just to myself and
no
working on my own stuff?
No.
Okay.
There's a difference between the hermit journey and the journey of in the inner self doing on their work. A hermit doesn't really do the inner work. They pretend a lot. So no, you shouldn't be a hermit because you're a created being who's got to share your stuff so that this stuff is known. Okay. How are you ever going to be in a band if you don't like people?
That's true. That's true.
What
And I do.
are you going to call yourself, the Hermit Band of One? So all the other hermits in the world are going to listen to you? You're never going to sell tickets to a hermit group, are you?
No. Yeah, maybe hermit isn't the right term, but I guess that's the certain term that I've kind of clung to as far as describing where it seems like I've been for a long time, just kind of like solitary in a way, even though I've had relationships and friendships.
It's easy for you to be alone. And unfortunately, that has a lure of hermitsy to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will end up just like the many cat ladies that call in. You're going to lose your human conversation experiences, those social skills that everyone needs.
Yeah.
Therefore, your work is just a manifesto and no one really understands it. Except for all the other hermits out there online. Because, making a hermit unite group is not going to work. Online hermit groups, they never work.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, we are here together, and that's the best way that we can really learn about ourselves, even, is when there's another pair of eyes with us, especially if they're on the same page. They can be helpful.
Right.
So today, actually, I was thinking about this, and I was like, dang, I need to find a group or something like that. So I looked around at some songwriters groups and things like that. And I found one that's pretty cool, but I mean, are there any, like, would I just go to a coffee shop and sit around? Or I don't really like to go to bars at all.
That's a good start. Open mic nights. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good start so that you can keep those social skills present. As for not liking bars, why the fuck are you in music then?
I know. I was thinking about that the other day because I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You can go to a bar and not drink alcohol, right?
Yes, I know.
But what part of you can't save face, needs to save face that I'm going to a bar and you're not going to drink freaking cranberry juice? Because at some point somebody's going to twist your arm. Do a shot with me. Do a shot with me. And you're going to go, no, I don't drink. No, I don't drink. Why do you come to the bar? Me. You got to be able to stand in your own 2 feet and say, no, I don't do shots.
Yeah.
And people got to know your aura is, no, I'm not here to drink. I'm a fucking musician. Here to apply my trade and talent. Or you learn how to nurse one drink all night long. As a limo driver, I can't tell you how many times people want me to try drinks with me. And I'm like, I'm your driver, guys. And how many times I take a sip out of it and then toss it out onto the floor when no one was looking.
Kudos. I also, a big part of the main reason why it drives me away from bars is like being in a public place and like having all these projections thrown at you.
So why the hell are you a musician then? It's the difference. You're gonna be on stage with all the projections.
Yes. Okay. So I have some things, I guess, to practice as far as working on boundaries, or I guess that would be the impenetrable field.
Your arguments for limitation, really what it is. Your inner hermit has a great line of arguing for your limitations. I can't go to the bar. They're going to project on me. They're going to make me drink. Me. Fuck you, hermit. I want to be a musician. I want to make some money off this shit. It's not like you're starting an online pop band, doing a boy band.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, brother. I got to let you go and move on to my next caller. Thanks for calling in.
Have a great day, Andrew.
You're
and
welcome.
everyone else. Thank you. Bye.
All right, let's see who gets the Roberta and the next person for the wheel of callers.
All right. Excuse me. Next person will be Ains. Ains, you're unmuted with Andrew.
Ains, are you there? Going once.
It's not Ains, it's Annis.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Where are you
First of all,
where are you calling from?
you'd be actually very surprised. I'm from Algeria, North Africa.
Welcome to the show, Algeria, North Africa, Anis. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, this is my first time here, and I just want to say that I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm so happy, and I'm going to explode. Sorry. Oh my God.
Great. What do you want to talk about today?
Do you do like that reading here on the show?
Sure. So let me ask you, how did you find out about me?
Yeah, that's a really good question. In fact, there's a channel on YouTube, a subliminal channel called Dr. Virtual 7, if you ever heard about it.
No.
There's a video there. It's called Subliminal Red Pill Contract Removal. It's for the revocations. And he basically, copied all those revocations that you put in your website, and he made them as subliminal videos, so you don't have to actually say those stuff. You can just hear that subliminal every day, and it's like you saying the revocations, and you don't do that like that whole work.
Well, that's not actually how it works, but
yeah. Nice try, huh?
You actually got to do it out loud. That's why it's part of the Name It to Claim It journey. And the subliminal can help you enforce it, but it's still you having to do it.
It's like you have to do that I am presence, like I am,
Mm-hmm. If you're not doing it, who is?
Exactly. So I want to know, I don't know, what is this Akashic reading? Do you tell me about my past life, or what is it?
Everyone comes to me with readings in different scenarios. How long you been listening for?
Well, I'd say, you mean this show?
Yeah, generally to me.
I heard about you like a month or so. I saw a video you told a woman that her, in her past she was in Japan and the mountain, and she used to be a tourist guide or something.
Okay, so in general, a lot of people come with certain types of questions. You basically
I know it's the Akashic record and that stuff. So
the Akashic record is the representation of all of your soul's experiences, past, present, and future. And what I do is I look at your past, present, and future, and I put together a series of patterns that have a recognizable journey to it. So part of your individual journey, lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, is learning to let go of criminal behavior. Now, unfortunately, criminality 100 years ago was an accepted part of life. And when one was in the fetus in the womb and planning a lifetime, being a criminal wasn't a bad thing at all. It was a way you got back at the system that was just as corrupt. Now, so the last 200 lifetimes, you've been challenging not being a criminal. And, you grew up in Algeria, corruption is rampant, isn't it?
Absolutely. People, they have that scarcity mentality, and they're all like afraid and they're all scared. And I feel like I'm alone here, I'm like, why is everyone is so scared, and why everyone wants to do bad things to each other in order to survive? They have that mentality, you know.
They know no better.
Exactly. And I don't know, it's hard to be like alone, because I do have this really positive mindset. I've changed a lot. I used to be a very toxic person who just likes to, you know, bullies, but for the sake of my amusement, you know, and rant about stuff and talk about this and that. And then I realized it's pointless, and I'm just losing my energy, and this isn't productive at all. So I'm become positive.
Is it possible for you to move out of Algeria to go somewhere else?
Absolutely.
Where would you go?
I think I would go to somewhere peaceful, where I connect with more with nature. I would say.
But you don't know where you would go. Where could you actually immigrate to?
I don't know. I think Ireland, Sweden, Norway, maybe.
You're going to run into a tremendous amount of racist scenarios in Sweden. You may have a big community of Algerians and North Africans there, but you're going to discover even in Ireland, there is a huge pushback against foreigners coming in.
Well, I'm not really religious. I'm a spiritual person, you know.
Where you come from. It's about where you come from, because
exactly, the country.
It's a country. So in all reality, you will not do well in Sweden, Norway. You won't. You just won't. Because you're just going to be in another community of North Africans with the same issues in another country.
Well, I think I heard of that, you know, the migration problems there, and the Syrians, and the far right, and the feminists, and all that drama there.
You have a lot of people who leave Syria, Iraq, Iran, etc., and they become full-on criminals in the new countries.
Yeah, that's the problem. What I really want is somewhere peaceful. I'd be more connected to nature, and I'd be more, let's say, more connected to the universe, where, you know, where I can just find peace. I believe I can be happy anywhere. It doesn't matter where, even if it's in the desert, you know.
Yeah, but you're not going to be happy in the desert.
But I don't want to go to the desert.
Come on.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
You need to put serious meditative contemplation in where you can move to, where you're not going to get caught in the same traps. And I hear you say, I want to be spiritual. Being spiritual is a state of being, okay? And it's a journey to stay spiritual over and over and over, no matter it is where you are. So part of that desire to be spiritual, you're already spiritual now. Are you going to be able to maintain it, the places that you go? So why don't you look at a country like Greece, Spain, Greece and Spain? Why don't you start there? Spain's right across the border. I'm sure there's some kind of.
I wouldn't say. Sorry for interruption. I wouldn't say Spain, because a lot of people from my country are there. I would say Greece. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Seems nice.
Greek islands. It's got to be someplace where you can go and work.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to be someplace you work. Brazil's another one. Now,
actually, I just graduated from college. I'm 20 years old. I'm actually very young.
Mm-hmm. What did you get a degree in?
It's I don't know how to say that, but like the very first degree in college in media and communication.
Okay, so media and communication. Well,
yeah.
Wherever you're going to go, you're going to be able to work. Okay?
Yep.
You want to be able to work. And with a media and a communication degree, you can be anywhere in the world and work.
Yeah, exactly. It works anywhere.
Anywhere. So you're going to need technology that's going to go with you, and, you know, how to make that stuff work. Marketing stuff. And then you got to learn to hustle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a problem for me to fit in anywhere, but I don't want to be distracted from my path in life,
Yeah.
because
Distractions, man. Life is full of distractions.
Exactly.
And you got to roll with the distractions. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you end up like a hermit in the desert with no one there and in the scorpions.
Yeah, that's true.
Being spiritual is a state of being that you have to maintain. That's why you call it a life walk, because you're doing it for your whole life. And there will be times that you're going to take a break from being spiritual. And then you're
exactly.
and you realize you lost nothing and gained a whole new point of view.
Yeah.
Don't overly
I feel like
be spiritual.
I feel like I was born again. I feel like I'm free from my past. I feel new, like whole,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been this way before, and I'm happy and I'm grateful. And I would like to say thank you for your welcoming to me in your show. I'm very grateful for that. I actually believe that the universe brought me here because I was going to have a voice call with a girl and she said she can't, and I was very upset. And then there was another girl and she said she can. So I was like, what is this? Because I love voice calls and I love talking. I enjoy talking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I entered YouTube and I saw your live. I was like, I pressed the video and it said, okay, there you go. You can join a meeting. Link in description. I just joined and installed this app and I'm here. And I'm like, wow, how did I do that? But I'm glad that I'm here,
No,
so
let me help you out a little bit more. You're a very emotional person. You're a very intelligent person. Don't sell yourself short. And if people don't want to talk to you, it's okay.
I know.
But the part that needs to be needed, that's something you got to work. They got to do inner work on. And a lot of people out there.
What did you say?
The need to be needed. You right now have a need to be needed.
I don't feel like I want to be needed. I don't know. I'm kind of confused.
I hear it in your voice, man. You have a need to be needed. I've been doing this a long time.
Like people must need me and I must provide services for others. Is that what you're saying?
No, you've got to really break down. You have an inner need to be needed.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually love that. So I need to break that, to stop that.
You're codependent on being needed, which is an unhealthy relationship.
That's true.
Where David and I talked about this need to be needed, and it's something that educated, intelligent geniuses end up in because you're around a bunch of dumbasses all your life.
That's true.
Okay, you're more intelligent than 90% of the people around you in your country.
That's actually very true. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why you got to get out of the country and go to some place where there are more intelligent people per capita.
Where I can evolve more, you can say.
Not just evolve, love it, have fun with it. Because unfortunately, you can't even have lateral fun where you're at because some of your jokes or some of your conversation topics are so over the heads of the idiots around you.
Exactly. I actually I feel very disconnected from the people around me. I feel totally alone, but I don't feel like as if it's a bad thing. I'm like, okay, I'm safe from these idiots and I'm not gonna listen to them. And I have a really great family and a really good, father and mother, though they're very religious and they're always like want to force me to do. And I'm like, yeah, mom, yeah, dad, I'll pray, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just telling them so they don't get mad at me. It's not really easy here, but I guess you can say I'm surviving.
But you can't thriving, and you can't live a life of survival.
Exactly. I want to live a life of peace and serenity, you know.
As well as have relationships and all those other things that come with the journey.
Absolutely. Can you sorry, can you tell me about a past life of mine or anything, you know?
So
I would like to know about myself.
Past lives. Like I was saying earlier, you've had about the last 200 lifetimes where you're battling corruption and criminality. Either you
I was battling corruption and criminality in the last 200 years.
200 lifetimes, meaning you had a choice when you came in to be a criminal and corrupt, or to be somebody who's not criminal and corrupt. But you never were allowed to have the in-between choice, which is I neither need to be a criminal nor be corrupt nor be an ultra good guy. I can just be an average guy who's intelligent on the street who doesn't want to pick sides.
So I was very neutral from the beginning.
No, the last 200 lifetimes you were choosing sides. You did not get to experience the middle path. And that's why this lifetime you came in intelligent, but you also came in an area that is forcing you to choose sides.
Yep, I believe I'm forced to choose sides, and I don't think that's a healthy thing to do.
You should never be forced to choose a side. So when it comes to past lives, like I said, the last 200 lives, you were forced to choose a side. And the journey this lifetime is to learn the strength, courage, and discernment to not choose sides, to choose yourself first. Now, you have other lifetimes in which you were a highly spiritual being in Japan, Korea, kind of following the Buddha's path. But that also was a journey of let's say around 2000 BC, 1000 BC. But you also fulfilled that experience where you did your good deeds to the soul families that needed you then. And as life was evolving and spirit soul families were evolving and devolving, you began to realize that a lot of people were not doing the work on their own. And that's why you needed to move on from not being a teacher, a spiritual teacher anymore. Right now, there's a deep spiritual teacher in you if you were to able to unlock some of the spiritual scenarios and find grounded peace within yourself. But I think it would be a very tough journey for you because so many other lifetimes you did the spiritual journey. Let me be blunt with you. You could be a full-on rock star this lifetime if you embraced that lifestyle. Okay?
What lifestyle?
The rock star band.
I can be a singer. Yeah, that would be great.
Be a joke. You could be the first Algerian pop band out there.
Yeah.
You guys got to choose it and put your motivation behind it.
Yeah. I have a question.
Like the caller before, you could be a comedian. You could do so many other things that aren't about choosing sides.
I'm actually very funny. Like a really, really funny person.
Okay. Turn it into something.
Exactly. Make something out of it. Like YouTube, gaming. I love video games. I adore video games.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question. Like, do I really have the choice to get out of this life? To go somewhere, another realm, another reality? Like, do I really have the choice to leave this earth and go somewhere else?
No.
All right. Fair enough.
Illusion from the very nature of asking the question. You're here for a reason. And if you don't want to be here, unfortunately, that's still suicidal energy behind it. I can't deal with this reality. I don't have guts and courage to create a dream here in the dream world.
I do understand what you're saying, and I agree. I completely agree. However, I'm asking the question, like, what's the point if I do what I have to do in this life and then die and then incarnate here?
But you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
You're not dead.
But I'll forget what I have done. And
well, not if the memories are good. Not if you're thriving and not basically surviving and all your memories are survival memories. Yeah, you're going to forget all the survival moments. That's why thriving is so important. That's why joy and happy is so important, because it makes lasting memories in us.
No, what I said was when I die and then I, come in a new body, I'll forget about the other life.
No, you won't.
know?
It's in your Akashic record.
So I would be able to remember, but why I can't at this moment remember what
You went through
what
the
I've done.
because you went through the great forgetting as when you were born, something everyone else does. It's how we are able to live here in this dreamy, non-dream duality world, having to use courage to stand up and be source connected with our own selves in a world that doesn't want us to be source connected.
Oh, I understand. And what can I say? Your answer made me so much happy. It cleared a lot of confusion, and because I felt like, oh man, I'm trapped and I can't get out of here, and I don't want to be a slave to the system and all that red pill, blue pill stuff.
Why choose a pill? Why take the drug? Why? Because they want you to?
Exactly. Because it's being shoved to our faces.
Mm-hmm.
So in my past life, did I remember the other past life? So was it always like this? I have that great forgetting, and then I start remembering stuff. And
remembering.
Was it?
So every time you're born, you go through a great forgetting of who you were in the past, as part of the journey of being alive here as a being of duality who's also singularity. The journey into spirituality is allowing the duality to be what it is and still be a singularity at the same time. The singularity is we're all one. We just don't allow it to apply to our perspective every moment. And the journey to enduring spirituality is, hey, I can't let go of being a singularity to go and watch this comedy club, and they may be saying jokes that I don't really give a damn, but I'm going to laugh, or I'm going to write a song, or I'm going to do this. I can be enjoy it.
It's like being connected to the internet, but you're not the internet.
Right.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So I'm asking for thank you for telling me about what I was doing in the 200 lifetimes before.
All right, brother, I got to let you go. It's time for us to end the show. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you so much, and see you in the next show or whatever, if the chance.
Look forward from you. All righty, man. Take it easy. Have a great day. All right, Robert, our final thing. So for those of you who want to come and have a private session with me before the great Halloween, we are running a special. Contact MPA at galactichistorian.com if you want to have a private session. All right, Robert, take us away and we'll catch you this coming Thursday.